If I had to guess, I would think that there's probably a lot of information out there when it comes to avoidant attachment telling people just break up with them, leave them, it's not worth the trouble, they're never gonna change. And I'll admit, I've done that myself. I've told people basically it's not worth your time. If they're not willing to change, then they're not going to. And that's the caveat here that I think we need to pay attention to. If somebody is avoidant or they have an avoidant attachment style and they want to change, and maybe you're that person, then good for you. Then we have hope. Then things can change. That's all that we need. Honestly, that's the first and probably the most important step here besides actually going ahead and making the changes. Now, I know that if you're avoidant, it's not that you don't like people. I mean, maybe a little bit. We all kind of don't like people, right? But it's not that you don't never want to be around people. It's not that you don't want to be in a relationship. I mean, some of you, maybe that's true, but I'm guessing for most of you, because this is the way our bodies are built, you want to be intimate with people. You want to have close relationships. You want to have a good relationship, a healthy relationship, but there's that avoidance that's getting in the way. I mean, there's probably times where even though you love not having people around, you do get lonely and you would like somebody to be around. You'd like somebody to care about you. I mean, we all do. It's just that people make you uncomfortable. So let's work on that. We're going to talk about healing from avoidant attachment. Now, I'm not going to claim that this is going to be easy. You're going to have to do the opposite of things that you're used to doing here, but this is the path forward if you want to change your attachment style. So for me, when I think about avoidant attachment, I feel like we need to get back in touch with our emotions. The primary thing with avoidant attachment is that we feel weak, we feel less than, we feel like our emotions are unimportant, we push them down. Like, that's just the way that we learn to deal with emotions, basically by not having them and ignoring them and pretending like they're not even there, and then we probably go on to dismiss other people's emotions as well as a result of that, because we don't care about them, we're not thinking about them, why should we care about anybody else's? Emotions are just annoying and they get in the way. But that's not true. Maybe this will help shift your perspective a little bit. Your emotions are just what's going on inside your body. It's happening anyway, whether you look at it or you don't look at it. It's running the show to some extent. Your emotional brain comes before your thinking brain, and so your emotional brain has more control over your body. Wouldn't you want to know what's going on with your emotions so that maybe your thinking brain, when possible, can take over and be more careful about the decisions that you make? I don't know. To me, that feels strong. That doesn't feel weak to me. And when it comes to expressing emotions, you're just communicating what's going on inside your body. It doesn't have to be like anxiety inducing. It doesn't have to be scary and intense. Like, it can just be as simple as saying a few sentences. It's communication. So when I think of healing from an avoidant attachment, I think of getting back in touch with your body and saying how you're feeling, but not just saying how you're feeling, because you're probably like, I already expressed my emotions. I get angry all the time. Listen, everybody gets angry all the time. There's more emotions than just anger. But besides that, you also have to feel the emotions. You can't just say them. You're probably used to being like, yeah, I'm okay, I'm fine, oh, I'm happy today, or whatever. But like, when you say it, do you feel it? Do you feel it in your body? And I think for most of us, it's true that we don't always feel everything that's going on in our body. But if you're avoidant, I think particularly you're probably not used to checking in and seeing, like, what am I feeling? What am I experiencing right now? So we got to start doing that. And what I mean by this is like actually reflecting and going inside. It's kind of hard to express what I mean, but you know, when you feel hot or cold, you're feeling your body. Like, there's different areas in your body you can feel. You don't have to pay attention to the whole body all at once, but you know, when your leg is sore, like, that's a feeling. When your heart is beating fast, that's a feeling. When you're sweating, that's kind of indicative of a feeling. There's all kinds of things that go on. Your face makes all kinds of different expressions. You may have seen many of them in my thumbnails. Those are all indicative of the way that we're feeling inside our bodies. Now, there are some general ways that different emotions show up in the body, and you can go ahead and go look them up online. I'm sure you can find charts and graphs and all kinds of different things when it comes to emotions. But rather than trying to look for a reference to try to figure out how you're feeling, it's really better to just sit there or stand there or whatever you're doing and feel it. Just go inside. You may not feel anything all the time. That's okay. Just get used to every now and then, habitually checking, maybe even set an alarm on your phone or something if you need to remind yourself because you're not used to doing this. And when you do check inside and you get all these different signals from your body about what's going on, start putting a label on it. Put your own label. Don't just go with what the internet tells you to call the emotion. What do you think the emotion is? There's no right answer here. You can say whatever you want and just say it to yourself. You don't even have to express it to anybody else. Write it down in a journal if you feel like it, but just notice. This is all about noticing. Do not judge the way that you're feeling. I know you may have had patterns where you yourself have judged how you're feeling. Maybe you judge how other people are feeling. Maybe you had somebody in your life or multiple people in your life. Maybe you still have people in your life who are constantly judging the way that you feel. Stop that pattern. It stops with you. There's no need to judge how you're feeling. It's just what's happening. It's just there. It's just information. It's totally okay to feel angry. It's totally okay to feel sad. It's okay to be happy. It's okay to feel embarrassed. It's okay to feel like I'm feeling like shit today. It's okay to feel like I'm excited and I'm ready to go. Anything you want to label it, it's up to you. And remember, this is how we connect with people. This information is important information. This is what allows us to get more intimate with somebody and to feel safe and trusting with somebody. Because when you get around the right people, they will hear when you express your emotions and they'll be able to hold that and they won't judge you for it and they won't attack you for it. And you'll feel like somebody else actually heard you and held your experience. And it's a great feeling knowing that you can trust somebody. I'm sure you've trusted somebody in your life. Hopefully you've trusted somebody in your life. And if you don't think you have, you will. Believe me, there are people out there that you can trust. But that feeling of trust is an amazing feeling because now you're not alone holding all of this intense information that's going on inside of your body. Somebody else can hold it and you can hold it together, and it's a less isolating world. I know that when we have this pattern of avoidance, it feels good to be alone, but it also feels shitty. You're not acknowledging it. It does feel shitty to feel like I have to deal with everything. Nobody wants to deal with everything. Nobody has to deal with everything. So why not share how you're feeling with other people? Okay, so I jumped ahead a little bit here because I said just label it to yourself. Talk to yourself about your feelings. Don't go out and jump right into sharing with other people unless that feels comfortable to you, but I'm guessing it probably doesn't. But once you started labeling and learning about how things feel inside for yourself, then go ahead and start sharing it with people. Do it slowly. Don't share with everybody, because if you jump right in, you might start to confirm some of those negative thoughts that are running through your head, that people can't be trusted, that you're better off alone, that this makes you look weak and stupid. None of that is true. But you're used to probably thinking that way, so we have to do these things slowly so that that stuff doesn't come in and crash down on top of you. Now, when it comes to emotions, you're probably already expressing them at least a little bit. Usually our faces are the main interface for how we express emotions to other people. So you're probably smiling when you're feeling good. You're probably frowning when you're not feeling so great. People can tell. That's okay. Again, this is just information. We're just communicating with each other. Don't judge it. But maybe when you start expressing to yourself, if it feels okay, if it feels comfortable, start to add a little bit to it. Use your body a little bit more. I do this with these videos actually because sometimes I'm tired when I sit down. I don't really feel like doing them, but I have to get a message across and I have to communicate to you what I'm feeling and what I want you to feel. So I have to be more expressive with my hands, with my body, with my face, so that you'll get the message. And in this way, expressing yourself actually makes you stronger because you're using more communication tools. You're becoming better at communicating. You're giving more information. You're enhancing your life. You're not making your life smaller. And if you practice this, if you practice going in and maybe over embellishing your emotions just a tiny, tiny bit, then you may start to have more control over your emotions. You may feel like you have a better ability to express yourself, and then in that way you are stronger. You're not letting your emotions just wildly take over. Now you're in control instead of your emotions. Because you may not realize it right now, but when you're having to hold your emotions in and you're pushing them down and you're avoiding things, it feels like you're strong, but you're not really strong because the emotions are dictating the way that you behave. Now, while you're practicing all of this, while you're doing all of this, try to do it with people that you feel comfortable with, that you feel like maybe you can trust a little bit. Because if you go expressing yourself and people try to put you down or make you feel weak or make you feel like you're stupid, you're just reinforcing all those messages that are already playing in your head. So those people, it's totally okay to avoid. We don't need those people in our life right now. And it's possible that you're surrounded by those kinds of people. Maybe you purposely surrounded yourself with those kinds of people because they also are avoidant and you're feeling more comfortable with them because it keeps you all on the same level. But we're not trying to stay small here. We're trying to expand and we're trying to grow and get more control over the way we experience life. So if that's what we want, we have to push some of those people away sometimes, even if it's just temporarily, and at least find new people who support us in doing this, who carry us, who make us feel comfortable. This may be a therapist. Therapists are great people when we have hard times with these things. And remember that during this whole process, this is new to you. It's okay to mess up. It's okay to feel like you have to go back to your room, to your home, wherever, and retreat. It's okay to feel like you need those private spaces, maybe put your headphones on, whatever it is that you do, where you need to avoid people. It's totally okay. You're doing something new. You're going to fall back on old habits. Just keep getting back out there and trying again. Don't just give up because it's hard. Remember, you've probably been doing this pattern of avoidance since you were born, basically. Since you were an infant, that's generally what attachment is all about. So it's okay if you go back to these habits. This is what you've been doing forever, pretty much, and it's all right to be uncomfortable. It's all right to feel like this is weird. It's all right to feel like it's not normal, but it's getting you to a place where you can have more secure relationships and more intimate relationships and just generally a healthier and happier life, and that's what you really want. So remind yourself of that and treat yourself kindly while you practice this new way of having an emotional life. Even though my personal attachment style was more on the anxious side, I switched over to something that was more secure, and I will tell you that my life is way better for it. So I applaud you for trying to do this. It makes you stronger. It makes you braver. Not the way that your avoidant attachment is making you. I know that that's the lie that it tells you, but it's not true. Expressing yourself is the brave thing to do when you're a more avoidant person. So what do you think about everything here? Do you think that this is something that's doable for you? Does it sound too intimidating? Have you tried it before and it didn't work? I want to know what you have to say. Let me know down below in the comments.